It's another episode of Business Roundup. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold. The Uganda-Rwanda border impasse has entered week 3, and Business Roundup had an exclusive interview with one of the affected persons in the business community. On the other hand, the global aviation industry is still mourning, and this is after Ethiopian Airlines took the lives of 157 people. And now the Boeing 737 is receiving global criticism on its ability to fly. Bank of Uganda is rooting for the adoption of ICT cloud services for the banking sector. These and more in this episode. Stay tuned. In our first story, Bank of Uganda has initiated discussions aimed at introducing a regulatory framework guiding the adoption and use of cloud services and other such shared services. According to Dr. Tumowene Twinemanzi, the Executive Director of Supervision at Bank of Uganda, he says that these will enhance the financial institutions' focus on their core business, which is intermediation, mobilizing deposits and extending credit.
Bank of Uganda has challenged the financial services industry to adopt a shared technology services delivery model, thereby cutting down the cost of doing business and pass on those benefits to customers in form of reduced costs of lending.
Financial institutions or service providers should compete on the basis of the quality of their service, the appropriateness of the products or services they provide, and not on how beautiful or how brand new their infrastructure or their systems are. What Roxy is trying to do with the partnership with Oracle and others is make that possible, so that the financial institutions focus on their core business, which is intermediation, mobilizing deposits and extending credit.
The Executive Director Supervision was speaking at the first Executive Roundtable for business and ICT leaders as well as regulators to discuss how enterprises can manage operational costs by leveraging cloud technologies. The risk of a security breach emerged as the biggest barrier, followed by the high cost of cloud computing services and uncertainty about the location of hosted data.
Let's say Cloud Customer addresses another aspect, which is where requirements like regulation in terms of data sovereignty or requirements that have to do with latency, because maybe you have a banking transactions on your ATM that has a critical timeout of maybe 100 milliseconds or something like that, where you cannot afford the round trip to a data center that is located 5,000 miles away from you. That is where Cloud Customer comes in.
Raxio is developing enterprise-grade and career-neutral Tier 3 data center at Namamve Industrial Park. Oracle, on the other hand, has developed Cloud at Customer, a cloud-based solution that allows Ugandan-based organizations to enjoy cloud services either in a colocation data center such as Raxio's or customers' owned data centers.
So what we're advocating for is cloud, the shared infrastructure services, is being able to utilize shared connectivity, multiple connectivity options, and basically position your business and enterprise to look at the future rather than the traditional approach of things.
The financial sector in Uganda has over the last 10 years seen an average cost-to-income ratios rise to 74.6% compared to 66.7% in the 10 years to 2008. As a result, average lending rates increased to a 10-year average of 22.16% from 20.39% in the same period. Dennis Igoa for UBC Business.
It is a must for government employees to receive their benefits as they retire. The unfortunate bit is that some get these funds when they can't ably invest anymore. Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority seeks a revision of the law for early retirement.
Uganda Retirement Benefits Authority is seeking new regulations to guide the pension benefit scheme, which many regard to be an outdated law. The point in contention is the age at which a person is supposed to get his retirement benefits to plan for his old age. The authority says that many are given their package when they are physically unable to monitor different projects set up.
Apparently, the structure of the law today for the mandatory arrangements that is under NSSF, when somebody retires at 55, they are able to access their benefits. However, there are very many occupational schemes we license. I've already told you there are around 62 today in this market. But most of those, they don't look at the retirement age as a basis for accessing your money. The majority, because of the employment structure in this country, which is contract-based, when your contract ends or when your services are no longer wanted, they pay you your lump sum amount. So in this case, it doesn't matter how old you are. Now, the biggest challenge is that when you start getting these funds along the way, you lose the long-term objective of accumulation of these funds. Now, the question of asked when these people can be able to access these funds. For now, what we want to look at a long-term accumulation of these funds. The longer you accumulate these funds, the better for you.
The need for a new regulation comes as new players in the pension fund join the market. Liaison Financial Services, an independent provider of retirement benefit scheme, has launched the umbrella fund to Ugandans looking for an effective retirement plan. With this plan, one can easily access funds even before the set age bracket of retirement.
But about 4 years back, we started a product, the Umbrella Fund, which basically gets contributions from members. We invest the funds, and then ultimately we pay them their fund, and then any kind of returns from the investments we have undertaken.
We are always encouraging our members to plan for their retirement actively and with decision, precisely, like deliberately plan for their retirement. So in planning for retirement deliberately, I mean, don't sit and say, I'll retire when I retire. Sit down, think about what you will do in your retirement. Think about the lifestyle you want to have in your retirement.
Research has it that accessing retirement packages hasn't been rosy, as cases of delayed pension or no pension, embezzlement of pension funds have become common, rendering many old retirees desperate and vulnerable to the unforgiving economic turmoil. Ngabo Emon, reporting for UBS TV.
Stanbic Bank hosted the second edition of the Enterprise Conference, providing a platform for small and medium enterprises to exchange ideas on how they can tap into Uganda's nascent oil and gas sector.
According to statistics, SMEs constitute 90% of the private sector. They contribute 80% of all manufacturing output and provide 2.5 million jobs. However, only 30% of them live to celebrate their third birthday.
I think the most important bit is the access to markets, because most businesses will tell you that they've been around for some time, but they're not getting business. So what we try to do is to connect them with the markets. That is one. Two is access to finance. Now, many businesses will also tell you that getting funding for their projects or financing their projects is usually a trick. So what we try to do is to make them attractable to sources of financing.
The need for a holistic overview in the oil sector has been emphasized so that companies do not focus only on the production of oil, but also consider businesses that support the sector.
Once you have started oil, it's not the end, it's the beginning. And you have 20, 25, 30 years of production.
Ideally, all the companies have to think about being compliant. Compliance, of course, in all areas, from your tax areas to your manpower areas to critically how you do business. Do you have management systems in your companies? Do you have policies in your companies? Are your staff at the level that you would expect them to be able to engage within the sector?
According to Stephen Seguja, the head of enterprise at Stanbic Bank, it will suit small and medium companies to partner with bigger companies so as to win bids for various services that they can provide best.
But look at the amount of money that is going to be invested in this economy. We're talking about $20 billion. And of those $20 billion, they can all walk out of the door, walk out of Uganda. So the timing of this conference is, how do we prepare our local enterprises to tap into these opportunities?
The lack of skills, poor infrastructure and administrative bureaucracies, among others, are some of the barriers that would hamper Ugandans from working in the sector. The oil and gas sector is expected to attract investments of about $20 billion, with about $6 billion expected to be retained into Uganda's economy. For UBC Business, Wadulo Mark Arnold.
The Rwanda-Uganda border impasse has entered week 3. The closure, which has affected human traffic from both countries, is also proving to be very costly to the businesses set up at the various official border posts. In an exclusive interview with Business Roundup, Asimwe Herbert, a hotel manager, says that he's counting his losses with every passing day. This is another Business Roundup exclusive, and right now we're in Miramar, particularly at Miramar Resort Hotel, sitting with its manager. Hello sir, how are you?
I'm okay, how are you, sir?
What's your name and what do you do?
I'm called Asim Habat and I work with Skybrew Hotels, and this one is called Miramar Resort Hotel. It is a new branch of Skybrew Hotels. We have some branches somewhere in Barara, Acacia, then in Dianton, the Skybrew Hotel. So this is another branch.
Tell us about the general environment of Miramar. What is the good and bad of Miramar?
So far, what makes Miramar very well known is the dirty border. You see, the borders here the side of Rwanda, then and Tanzania the other side. So that is the unique I can explain, and those hills you see. Yeah.
How busy does it usually get here? For example, you are the...
So far not yet busy, but at least somehow. But it's not yet so busy as people think. Yeah.
So how has business been moving on? How many guests, say, for example, does your hotel receive within a day?
Okay, since it is a border, it depends of how people are just traveling. You see, people here are very few, so we normally receive the travelers who are entering and checking out of Rwanda. Yeah, so it depends. You cannot say we normally get these people on a daily basis. Yeah.
And as far as your accommodation prices, yeah?
Yes.
What are the general price ranges for hotels within Miramar for the different rooms and categories?
Okay, for us generally we charge 40,000 a room, which is a self-contained room. So that is the average.
What else comes with it? Does it come with breakfast?
No, 40,000 is without breakfast, and if you want breakfast, you pay 60,000. Yeah.
So now tell us, have you realized any difference within the last 1 week? Any difference in the turn-up of customers at Miramar Resort?
Yeah, okay, it changed compared to some time before ago. You see, this thing happened when we are not aware. It just happened like that, and they didn't explain what was going on.
What is that happened?
At the border, you see the trailers. Okay, the traffic jam is there, so everybody didn't know what is going on. So they first said that maybe they were changing the system of the vehicles, of how they can travel from the other route of Katuna then to here. But now, you see, people are not traveling as before. So it affected us, all the business, the whole community. Even the shops, they used to get the people from there who come and buy things here, but so far now, nobody.
I would have thought that now that Katuna has been restricted from movement, I would have expected that Miramar is expecting more business. So tell us about that.
Not at all. Apart from trailer drivers, and which of sometimes they are just on their own businesses. So you see, the people who normally move from Rwanda coming to this place for purchasing their items are not allowed to come. They are not traveling freely. So even the shops are closed. So the business is not good at all. People are crying. They are not getting their grants because here there are few people. They normally say they are goods to those people inside Rwanda. So they are not allowed to come. You see, there is no comprehensive explanation they can give that maybe this and this happened. So nothing.
In your capacity as a manager, what do you think should be the strategic steps to be made to make Miramar a profitable business area?
I would think if the government can maybe open the border officially, then the people are allowed to move freely. Yeah, that's how I can see. Maybe we can get some people. Because now if you say you are diverting the trailers to move from here, other vehicles are maybe traveling from the other side. So it affects us.
So first tell me about officially opening a border post. What does that do for an area when you officially commission a border post?
For sure, I would say if it is officially opened, everybody is allowed to move freely at any time, and it makes maybe most people from other different areas to pass this border.
Thank you for interacting with UBC Business Roundup particularly. A chimpanzee primatologist, Julia Lloyd, is transforming the lives of the local community living near the edges of Chibale National Park. Her initiatives, such as beekeeping and conservation training, have greatly curbed human-wildlife conflict, in addition to improving livelihood. Our reporter Dennis Sigoa interacted with Julia at her Sandbird Hill residence in Chibale.
Wire snares, they use different materials for poaching, don't they, Silver?
Julia Lloyd, a chimpanzee primatologist, is a resident of Kamwenge district and lives close to the Chibale National Park boundary. She came to Uganda about 2 decades ago to conduct research on primates, especially the chimpanzees in Chibale National Park, and fell in love with the flora, fauna and the people of Chibale. During a long stay at Chibale, Julia realized that the locals living near the edges of the park were suffering from rampant crop raids. She also fell victim.
These people suffer from being next to the national park. It's difficult to grow crops. Elephants, bush pigs, baboons come out and crop raid, eat almost everything. So tourism would be perfect for these people, but they don't have the background, the knowledge. They don't often go to school or go far in school or get the chance to go to wildlife college. So we're trying to ignite the passion, and it's already there.
The relationship between wildlife and the people was sore, and often the locals had to retaliate violently. To reignite the passion of locals towards conservation, Julia formed a local organization in the shadows of chimpanzees.
They just need a helping hand. So we're training a core team of local enthusiasts from the area that already are guides in different places, and we're training them beyond birds, reptiles, plants, amphibians, lots of insects.
Apiculture or beekeeping is one of the initiatives being implemented by Julia and local partners.
They are very small insects, but they are dangerous. When they sting you, they have some very poisonous, which is very dangerous. They only that they run back to the what? To the park. That's why we are arranging from the same lane from distance.
The project is symbiotic. Besides stopping crop raids by the elephants, the hives produce high-quality honey for sale. It also complements the Ua trench dug to stop elephant raids. The trench you see here is about 70 kilometers. It stretches 70 kilometers all the way down to the other side. Of course, that is just a fraction of the 795 square kilometers of Chibale National Park. It was constructed in order to prevent the elephants from crossing from the park into the community land. But what we've been told is that elephants have become very smart. Sometimes they pour soil in there, then cross over.
They push the soil inside the trench. Then after that, they get the soil becomes higher. Then the elephants manage to cross from here. After the elephant has put in soil, people come and they move the soil and put it back. Yeah.
Nature lover Julia has set up the Sandbird Hill Research and Monitoring Site at the edge of the park. Over the years, Sandbird Hill has become a haven for nature enthusiasts.
Here is our mammalogy section, so it's all about the mammals. Then here you get into entomology, which is the insects, arthropods. And then we've got herpetology, a main passion of mine. Okay. So you're talking about my favourite book is by this man, Stephen Spalls, who's normally based in Kenya, and he's coming to visit us soon and help train our guys. So they're the kind of people we're going to be housing.
Dennis Igoa for UBC News at Chibale National Park.
And now on the international scene, Boeing share price has dropped as a growing number of airline regulators around the world suspended its flights of the newest version of its most popular jet. The grounding of the 737 MAX aircraft comes after an Ethiopian Airlines plane crashed recently, just outside Addis Ababa, taking the lives of all 157 people on board.
US aircraft manufacturing giant Boeing finds itself under the spotlight. On Sunday, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 crashed near the capital Addis Ababa shortly after takeoff. It's the second time within 5 months that a Boeing 737 MAX 8 has crashed, raising safety concerns.
This is catastrophic for human lives, and it's also catastrophic for Boeing. This is a core part of their business model, and they now have 2 planes that have crashed and led to a big question about the safety of their business. And for a company like Boeing, safety is the most important word that you can associate with your business success.
All 157 people on board the Ethiopian flight were killed. In October last year, a Lion Air flight, also a 737 MAX 8, crashed off the coast of Indonesia, killing 189 people. More than 300 737 MAX 8 planes are currently in operation worldwide.
This second deadly crash of a 737 MAX within 5 months is placing further scrutiny on Boeing, with some airlines and countries already taking the step of grounding their fleet of the aircraft.
China ordered its carriers to ground all 96 737 MAX 8s in the country. Indonesia and Ethiopian Airlines took similar steps, as did Cayman Airways. US carrier Southwest Airlines currently has the largest fleet of 737 MAX 8s. The company says it's monitoring the situation closely, but remains confident in the safety of the aircraft. Some experts believe grounding the planes is a reasonable step to take.
I certainly think that they should. This would initially alleviate the problem right off the bat. The traveling public is fearful of getting on the aircraft. People are wondering, are everybody trained properly, and maybe they haven't had time to train everybody properly.
For passengers at Chicago's O'Hare Airport, the news prompted a mixed response.
It certainly does make me feel nervous, makes me question the level of testing that's happening before these planes get rolled out into the market.
I got to tell you, I don't have a lot of sense of nervousness. I choose my carriers that I fly on, and I'm comfortable in the way they go about doing their business.
In a statement, Boeing said a technical team will be travelling to the crash site to provide assistance to investigators. Airlines around the world will be monitoring developments very closely. Dan Williams, CGTN, Chicago.
As part of the most important things we have to do as ESC today. Indeed, you may have been informed that last year our heads of state adopted a new strategy, the 5th ESC development strategy, which really places private sector industrialization on our top priorities. So, and for this industrialization, for this development of the private sector to happen, the governments and the ESC have to play an active role. So we have been discussing on ways to engage more with IPAs, with the private sector, on ways to provide a more conducive environment, how we can actually put our forces together so that we can ensure that businesses thrive in the community. Again, I want to point out that the choice of industrialization is really motivated by the fact that all our authorities, our principals, and all our people know that unemployment is a major problem.
In our Sounds of Business, we go regional. And this is to Mombasa in Kenya, one of the dream destinations for local and foreign tourists. The white sandy beaches, the scorching sunshine, and the sky blue Indian Ocean waters are the major attraction, especially during winter in Europe and America.
there in the hotel, you can see like this light. So the boy always is small, and this one make love.
Most times we get disappointed when the products we buy do not perform as we expect. And then we result into calling a person we assume is an expert that is better than us at handling the equipment. And yet all you could simply do is read your manual. So my tip for you today is read and understand your manual. Catch me on the next episode, same time, same place. From the team and I, it's goodbye.